The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewer, welcome to GBS TV, the station that you love and enjoy. At Chungu Cha Jamii today, I am very excited because I have a good surprise for you. By the way, are you planning to get married anytime soon? I have Pauline with me in studio who is going to be taking us through premarital counseling. Besides, I have live audience that are going to be expressing their questions, concerns, and views on the same. Please stay with us. My name is Betty Akuku. I am your host today. Enjoy the show. Welcome, Pauline.
Thank you, Betty.
Yourself.
Thank you. It's nice to be here to continue on that really nice topic on premarital counseling, which every young person, every dating couple should embrace to help them as they get into the institution of marriage. So thank you for having me again.
Wow.
Yes.
Welcome. Good to see you
Good
again.
to see you, Betty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. How has been your week?
The week has been busy, very busy, but
know.
we are getting towards the end of it.
Okay. Just last week, we began this series on
Yes.
premarital counseling. And Pauline, when I think about premarital counseling, I see a lot of young people who are looking forward to getting married anytime soon. And people do not know how to prepare.
Yeah.
One of the amazing things is that when you are planning and studying to become an accountant, then you know you need to train, you know, to be an employee in an office to do the work that an accountant does.
Yes.
If you need to do engineering as well, you also have to train and get the job. But in marriage, is there a place where people are taught and trained that this is how to live with a husband, this is how to live with a wife? Or do you grow up and figure it out by yourself once you get there?
I really like what you say, the analogy you gave that, you know, when we are doing these other careers, we are prepared, we go to school. But at times in marriage, somebody said you just go and then one day you have a certificate, you know, in the church, and you wonder what, and so that's why we have premarital counseling.
You get a certificate before you
Yeah, you get
qualify.
the certificate the same day.
Yes.
You know, and but we encourage that couples who are dating and preparing to go into marriage to go through premarital counseling.
Okay.
And I think one of the most important things that we encourage people to do is to go to it way before they have planned on the wedding date. We have some, like I said last time, who come for premarital counseling before even having set dates, even for visits. You know, those traditional cultural visits.
Yeah.
Some of them signify it's a marriage, you know. And so some come for premarital counseling way before, which is what I really advise young people who are dating. Say, for example, I can give a figure of like 6 months
Yes.
before they even ever plan. Now, why that is good is they come when they are ready to learn, they are objective, they have not put their monies into any form of preparation, because at times if they need to, you know, move their wedding or even cancel the relationship, they will not feel like they have put in finances. You know, people get really, when they have put in monetary terms,
They're tied up to it.
they are tied up. You know, they say, but how can I? You know, when they have called people for their big dowry negotiation, for their, you know, pre-wedding, for example, and they have not yet done their wedding, I've had some tell me, but how do I cancel my wedding? I mean, the whole village knows that I'm getting married. And so even when there are all these signs, which we call red flags, you will find a couple will still say, no, we have to go ahead, you know, with our marriage. So
because of the resources they are put in.
because of the resources they have put in.
I'm so interested to learn a few things today, and so is our viewer also. Because when I want to drive, I don't just pick a car one day and I do not know what to do. It's not just the steering and the brakes, you know,
Yes.
but I have to learn how to check that my car has issues. When I see an indicator on my dashboard, I need to know what does this show. When I have a puncture on the road, I need to know and learn how to change my tire.
Yes.
And I need to know, I need water on my wiper. I need to know how to switch on the lights when I am out late in the night. You know, all these things I am taught. So having a car without knowing its functions and how to ignite and use them is useless.
Yes.
Last time you were here, you dwelt a lot on the importance of premarital counseling. Today, I would like us to know, what exactly do you take couples through, those that come to your office to learn? What do you teach them about? The way you were taught how to change a tire, the way you're taught how to put water on your wipes, you know, everything that you're taught about a car. What do you teach couples?
Now, what we do, it's a journey we begin with the couple.
Okay.
So the very first time a dating couple comes in for premarital counseling, we want to hear what, you know, their view about marriage. You know, we want to pose questions that will make them think, I'll ask them, why do you want to get married?
Okay.
So I want to hear from the individual parties, why, if it's the gentleman, why do you want to get married? Then I'll hear. Then I'll also ask them, what is it that they know about marriage? You know, growing up, what was their picture about marriage? How did they see their parents? For example, if they had both parents together, what is it that they saw about marriage that they liked and that they did not like? So I want to hear their trail of thought in those things. I want to hear, for example, if it is a person who was brought up in a single parent home, I want to hear, they must have seen other couples, maybe married. What is it that they saw in them that they like? What is it that they don't like? Something else, still in the introductory, the very first time they come in, I want to hear, what are their fears about marriage? And why do they have those fears? You know, what brought them to that kind of a fear? I want to understand. So we are still talking together, and each of them is telling me all what they think about marriage. And so after the very first one, and then I'll also want to hear about their upbringing. You know, I want to hear, how are they free to talk when they are together about how they grew up, you know, the individual growing up. This has nothing to do about marriage, but I just want to understand, how did they grow up?
How important is that? Do you think it catches up with you someday? Because I have had a lot of people mention that my mom was a single mom, my grandma was a single mom, and tracing back to their generation, you find a lot of single parenthood. And so one of the fears they end up having is they would also be
a single parent.
Yeah. Even though it works, you know, for starters, someday they're just going to break up.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying I will want to know, why do they have fear? You know, they might, one of them may tell you, I fear that I could break up. But then you want to hear, why do you fear that you'd break up one day? And then now they'll tell you how they grew up and everything and all that. Now, after we've done the introduction and of course telling them what we're going to go through topics about marriage and hear their thoughts on it, because we do not impose on them. We discuss with them the topics that come along. Now, after I've done that and I can see that they are comfortably sharing when which of them is there, the next session, I always get them individually. I will have now an individual.
Really?
Yes. I'll hear what they have to say together. Then the next session, I'll want to get each of them independently. So I'll give an appointment for the gentleman and for the lady alone. And then I'll want to hear,
why do you do that? Because I could mention to you that, you know what, my family is polygamous. My father is married to 5 wives, you know, and there could be that spirit that may have gotten into me that I also just want to be polygamous, you know, and I may not be comfortable to mention this in the presence of the guy. But how about if later he gets to hear that this was ever disclosed to you? Don't you think this person is already so much predisposed to such kind of a marriage?
Yes, and that's why during the individual sessions, we want to hear, are there things that you are not able to mention when both of you are together? And so they'll mention, you know, they'll mention, a lady will tell you, growing up, probably I had an abortion. I had something that happened to me. And so you'll ask them, why do you feel you don't want to share it with your you know, soon to be husband or wife? And they will tell you the reasons. And then what you do as a counselor, we want to tell them we want to discuss with them the pros and cons of not you know, disclosing some of those secrets that they have, because we all have secrets,
Yeah.
but there are some secrets which are very dire. And so in that kind of, we are going to tell them the importance of them making that, for example, if it's abortion, that could have an effect even on probably when the couple wants to have children and something happens and the spouse does not know that you had ever had an abortion. And you know, and that's why I tell people, when it comes to marriage, you have to be naked and feel no shame. If somebody wants you, they will still get you. I mean, no matter the past, no matter the mistakes you've had, but the earlier you're able to talk about those things that you feel are so dirty, are so hidden, the better for you, so that they can make informed decisions.
I
I've
wonder
had couples,
if such people still exist, Pauline.
yes, they do.
Because people have decided to go for prenups.
Yes.
You know, let's agree, you know, we are going to have a prenup, no official or formal marriage. This is how it's going to be for us. We're going to live together. And they actually feel in this generation that a prenup is much, much better than walking your spouse down the aisle to make that signature, to put down that signature. That is just a deception. You know, people have been led to such kinds of destinies because of the things that they see today. I would like you to outline the topics that you talk about.
Yes.
I remember that last time we mentioned finance, we mentioned in-laws. What else do you discuss that is very key for premarital counseling?
Top on the list, there is no like which one starts, which one ends, but one of the top of the things that we talk about is communication, and I wanted to link it to what I was about saying, because it makes the whole thing about marriage. If you're able to communicate things that are very hidden, things that are very, you know, this that I do not want to share anybody, if you're able to break through and are able to communicate that to the person marrying you, then you start on a clean plate. And so that's why I was saying, there are couples, you asked, that there are people like that anymore who are able to share? Yes, there are.
Who can remain naked.
Yes, they do. And I've had one who, and I asked the spouse, the gentleman, what is it that is making you, even after she says that she had an abortion, that you still want to marry her? Then she says, the fact that she was able to tell me that is okay. And then you tell them, what are the consequences of that? It could be this, it could be this, it could be childlessness. And for example, and the gentleman will tell you, if we don't have a child, I'll be okay. Now, from there, you know, they have started on a point of they are able to communicate the very intimate or intricate things that they are not able to share with other people. So communication is one thing we try to bring out a lot in premarital counseling. Now, our upbringing, and especially in the African context, we were not brought up knowing how to communicate, because we were told, you know, we were told, you know, do this, don't do this, but we were not allowed to share. What is that? What did it make you feel? You know, like the way of late we encourage parents to talk with their children, not to their children. And so they might find it difficult, but we'll encourage them in premarital counseling that anything coming up in marriage, anything that they feel they would want to happen in marriage. For example, even what we talked about in-laws. What do you feel? How do you feel we should relate with our in-laws? It is important for me to listen to both of them and hear what their views are. And not that only one person, for example, in the, you know, we normally say the head of the house, who is the man, will say. But it's very important, because this is a partnership, to listen from the lady. What does she feel? When it comes to communication, Pauline, one of the great concerns I have is that somehow the in-laws always come into the communication and the agreement of the couple. Because I want to tell you something based on what my parents' view are, you know. And I also want to tell you something after I have heard from them. So it's always influenced by another party, not necessarily me or just involving us, you know. So how are you supposed to communicate in the right way? Because people just drop words. Someone just gives you information. Where did you go? I was away with my friends 2 days. You know, that doesn't satisfy your question. If you're not going to be home 2 days, or in your dating, someone calls you and doesn't find you on phone, 2 days, you are not reachable. And when you show up, I was with my friends,
I don't think that is satisfactory.
That is not satisfactory.
So what is this communication? Because if he tells you that, that is just information. Yes, so you deal with it.
Yeah.
You know?
And
And just me telling you, like the lady who was able to disclose that she had an abortion.
Yes.
Yes, that was really a thumbs up for her, because she's able to say the thing that really eats her up. You know, that's like, she may or may not get a child. So take it or leave it, this is me.
This is me.
Marry me or not, this is me. That's really, really great. Yes.
Yes, very, very important, because, and that's the unfortunate bit now there, right there, Betty. If there is a history in their relationship before marriage, where the communication, the being able to be open to the spouse, and the other person, when they are told, I was away with my friends, and that's enough for them. So that shows the other person, you don't really care. By the way, that is a sign of abuse. If you're not able to tell your spouse, and the spouse takes it, and the person you're relating with, they are okay with you saying, okay, I was away with my friends. And this lady or this gentleman, because maybe they don't want to lose you in the name of love, they stomach that. You know, you're never really open. Okay, you are with your friends. What are you doing with your friends? And you know, when the person goes ahead and asks, so what were you doing with your friends? And
You
for
take
2
offense.
days, you start being, you know, you take offense. Why are you asking me? And you'll find them still coming and saying, I still want to get married to them. And right there, that's why we are able to spot to them that is a red flag right there. If you're not able, and because somebody really wants to get into this relationship, because there's this notion of, I need to get married, you know, my
People are
friends are married,
desperate,
my
peers are
parents
going.
are, you know, even parents are
I
giving
know,
their
pressure.
children pressure. And so this person will be in it, and they really feel that I should not be in this. So to be able to be open, to openly communicate that if your spouse or the person you're relating is asking for a clarification, the other person should be willing to say, why is that? So that I need to be comfortable. You know, communication is two-way. You need to answer me in a satisfactory manner. If I don't feel satisfied, I can re-clarify, and you can be able to tell me why it is. And that's the place. But if you're not able to be overly open, or you're keeping some things from the person you're getting married to, then that it's not going to work into
What
marriage.
else do you talk about in that list?
Something else we talk about in premarital counseling, we like bringing it out, is finances. You know, what is finances to you? We want to hear from each one of them. What does finances mean to you? You know, we want to know, how has been your history about finances? There are people who are more spendthrift than others. There are people who are trustworthy when it comes to finances. Others are not. So you're able to know which one is the strength of each of you when it comes to finances. We ask them, what do you know about, you know, joint accounts? What do you know about personal accounts? And then we are going to be individual accounts. I mean, we are going to be able to talk about what are the pros and cons according to them of having joint accounts and of having separate accounts. And then they will be able to talk about it together. And then they will come to a conclusion. All right, so when we get into marriage, what we want to do, how do we want to carry out our finances? And then they are able, so we are not telling them which one is the best way, but we want to know from them, why do they think their way is the best way? Are they able to carry on with what they commit to, how they commit to carry out their finances together?
I get you, Pauline. And at this juncture, I want to involve our live audience after the break. Viewer, we are taking a short break. We are talking about premarital counseling. And as I asked you earlier, are you getting married anytime soon? Please stay tuned. We are coming back just now with a Q&A session with our live audience. Hello, viewer. Welcome to
Chungu Cha Jamii.
My name is Tigist Hailu.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ruben West
I'm Dr. Charles Mukuka
from the United States of America.
I come from Ethiopia.
from Zambia.
I love Kenya very much.
I love the Kenyan people.
Love is not by confession. Love is by action.
Come on now.
When you are a husband, you are not a husband.
It's very important.
You can count the seeds in an apple, but you can never count the number of apples in a seed.
Her phone is a phone. My phone is my phone.
You only know what you know.
Who forced you?
The more you spend time together, the more strong you
A woman is like a Bible.
Could tell me that they were born and it wasn't from a female, I'd like to know.
A woman, she's a good asset. And the woman, she's a very, very good investment.
When you're up, your family knows who you are. But when you're down, you'll figure out who your family is.
Thank you so much.
What's up, my people? This is Brand Senior, Mr. KCA, Mr. Glam International Kenya, People's Choice. And the message is, if you are out there and you have any talent, all art, if you have any artistic thing, this is the place to be. Wednesday and Thursday.
Hey. Ningekuwa dem ningeitwa Joy, fruit of the Holy Spirit. Lakini si ati mnikule kama nimeiva. Hii ni wine ya word. Junajua spirit zenu zimezoea 8 PM na masaa ya 2:2. So 7 PM ningependa mnitune in kama nipashe cause I'm your fellow citizen.
8:30 PM manze on your favorite channel. I'm talking about GBS TV.
Hey. Elijah. I'm a young baller. Every
now it's time for speaking. Everyone, are you ready?
Kwa mtu alikuwa anauma. Si niliwaambia.
Oh Mr. Sun, Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me.
Kwaheri.
Right. Ni nani? Ni nani? Carry on! Hola! Genius DJ, genius DJ, genius DJ, genius hype man. Wow! It's bigger, it's better, it's live. I'll be your host, Ipola the Experience.
Genius Republic DJ Karian.
Join us for Ekomziki each and every Sunday from 8 a.m.
for the best in gospel music as we host your favorite gospel ministers.
Every Sunday, live on your favorite station, GBS TV. Boom, 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 boom. Carry on! Hey!
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewer. Our SMS line is 21144, and we are also on Facebook and YouTube Live. So we are back, Pauline, and this session we have an Q&A. I told you, as you can see, I have live audience, and they're so excited, I guess. They want to hear. When you look at them, they're young people. They're the ones who are getting married soon, so don't be surprised. So I would like to take a question from my audience. And the first question, please. Anyone with a question? Okay.
Okay,
Your name?
My name is Kenneth David, and my question will be, in the line of relationships and communication, there's something called the IQ, EQ, and AQ. AQ is what I prefer to call the adaptability quotient. How will it be able for me and my partner to put in communication that will be clear and concise? Because like personally for me, I don't like arguments, and I will rather walk away than wait for you to cool down, then come back. So how will it be able, what will be the best basis to put the adaptability in communication within the relationship?
Yeah. Very good question.
Very good question, yeah. And we really like getting the personality. One of the things in the individual session is just understanding the personality about about somebody. There are people who are more open, There are people who are extroverts and introverts. And so when, for example, we want to hear how in the past have you been able to deal with, for example, a conflict. Like, for example, you said somebody may prefer to walk away and give the other person time. But this other person may prefer you want it dealt with there and there, and there becomes so the most, and that's where now communication comes in, because you're able to know this is what the person prefers. It's not that they're running away from the argument or from the issue, but they just prefer to take time, because maybe you feel if you talk too soon, you might, talk things you also don't want to talk. And so we want each of the dating couple to understand this is where he's coming from and this is where you're coming from. You like everything dealt with there and there. So probably where do you get a level ground, for one another? So you might agree so that this one doesn't feel like she has not been met, in the sense that they want the issue dealt with there and there. You might agree who wants to go away may need to give a definite time, of talking about it. You may need to tell her, can we talk about it in the evening? Probably the disagreement happened in the morning. So this person, it will do well for her with a definite time.
But Pauline, could it be about timing or the way the lady is communicating? Maybe the lady is, like backing.
Yes.
And it could not be about the time. It could just be that the man cannot bear. He cannot stand you shouting.
Yes, and he cannot, and that's why in understanding one another's, preference, how would you want conflicts? Conflicts is another subject altogether. We do. Would you like conflicts restored? And so if this person, like I said, understanding, because you cannot be the same. They are not two like-minded people, even and you're imperfect. As much as you love one another, you're also imperfect. And that's why conflict will always occur, even in any relationship. And so it's just understanding then, where will you, this one who wants there and then, this one who wants to say all the bad things and want it to happen, needs to learn that it cannot be my way all the time. You who goes away and says, we'll discuss it later is very indefinite. So we'll want to tell you, okay, later, could you give us when? Some people would prefer, if it's an issue that needs a lot of sitting, if it happened on a Monday, can we talk on Saturday? So this one also will have cooled down by then, and the fact that you don't like confrontation immediately, you'll also have been met in the sense that you've not been able to discuss it then, but we will discuss it on Saturday. So it's also a give and take. You can't have everything. You need to know where can I be able to say, I need to give my spouse time. I feel bad about it. I'm ranting about it. He's not hearing. But I need to understand he's not like me. Yeah. So you understand which level ground will you work. I don't know whether that answers.
Yeah.
That answers.
Okay.
You cannot get 100%.
Yes.
Okay. Next question.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Esther Munyiri, and my question is on financial stability. You might find there are couples who can't afford to go on a professional level for advice. So who do you think is the best person to take advice from, other than on a professional level?
On a professional level, most churches offer premarital counseling. Yeah, they may be the pastor who does it. They could even have a person who is employed, or I know there are some churches who have even volunteer couples, for example, or a program, a book that they go through in premarital counseling. So there is always, you don't necessarily have, if you're not financially able, you don't have to go to a profession per se, where you need to pay money, but probably where you go to church. Again, I also encourage young people, don't fear to ask even a professional. Let them know that we are not able to afford, but we are really willing. We would really like to go through premarital counseling. We've had such cases in the office, and we are able to, because their offices with CSR services, we cannot always say we'll see people with money. So I would also encourage you, just present yourselves. You want premarital, and you could even have an agreement, maybe with time when we are able to, we can pay. But don't miss to go because you don't have the finances to pay for professional advice.
That's a very good question, because no one then is allowed to just sit back and say, I didn't have money, so there's no way I could seek advice.
Exactly, yeah.
I like that provision. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yes, from the audience, could I have another question? Yes.
Okay, my name is Patricia Ongoi, and my question is about validity of the premarital counseling. Well, we find that a lot of, yes, some couples may or may not go to premarital counseling and stuff, but then we still find the couples fighting, we still find issues in marriages and stuff. So I'm still having the question of, does premarital counseling still has the validity? Yeah.
Thank you. You said Patricia?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I remember you asked something similar in our part 1, and I really, it's probably the cry of, or the question that many young people have, because I mean, there are people who have gone through it and it's not working for them. There are people who haven't done it, it's also not working for them in their marriage. So you wonder, is it really valid? I get you. And that's why I would say very, candidly here, when you're coming for premarital counseling, believe that, come objectively. That I'm not coming, again, there are those things in our subconscious. For example, if you come for premarital counseling feeling that there are couples who have done it and it hasn't worked, more if that is what you believe mostly it is what it could happen to you. I mean, you're like, anyway, they did, but it didn't work. So you go like a formality. Now, don't do premarital as a formality. Do it as something that is important for you, and it is, and believe in it, that I want to be open, I want to share openly, even if the person you're going with for premarital may hide some things, but be ready as a person to be that honest, the honest client in a premarital setup. And in that way, you might realize that because of your honesty, that there are things which may come up and you'll be able to make an informed decision with, do you really want to go into this marriage or not? I've seen people even a week too saying that I will not get married. Something keeps telling them I do not want, but they keep pushing. But finally they realize, by the way, this is my life. Because they have objectively come to listen. And you come in knowing that I'm not coming in because I must get married, but I want to understand, what am I getting myself with? At times you even come in with a lot of fears because there are things you're already seeing, but you decide, it's like going to school, like what you are saying. You go in knowing that I want to go and pass. You don't enroll in school knowing that. And so if you're not able along the way, you can decide, I'm leaving this course, and that's the objectivity we need to have when we are preparing to get married. That it is not a must. It's not, nobody is holding a gun on you that if you must get married to this person. And so premarital is a place where things are brought to open, discussions are, and you find the person you're dating and you're with in premarital, it's not working. These things we are struggling in because there are people who come in and every time they come in for another session, they've probably come in with a fight. So we now pend what we are doing, we continue with personal counseling before we can handle. So if that is the cycle, then it means there's a challenge right there. And then we'll ask them, do you really want to? And that's why I said we even ask them, why do you want to get married? So that it is very conscious in you. Are you able to wait? At times we feel like, if I don't get married, I may never get married. So you're already getting there and say, you've already blocked your mind. Even if the counselor says this, even if the counselor posts this, let me tell the counselor what she wants to hear. It's not about the counselor. It's about So Patricia, premarital is valid. If only the two, it all depends on the two. Are you open to whatever? Are you objective enough to get and to make an informed? Because at the end of the sessions, we do about 8 sessions. We will ask you, with all this, with the journey we have gone with you, do you still feel you want to say yes? I mean, we've had people who have said, yes, I still want to, even as much as many red flags come up. And they actually go ahead, do the cultural things, and then later call and tell us, I have decided I'm not going on with the relationship because the issues continued. And now they have to maybe start getting back, because culturally we know if you have paid dowry at times, you have to take back the dowry because they felt that it's not working, but they forced it.
Well,
so you don't want
happens
to get to those extents
where you have to go retrieve the
exactly,
dowry.
yeah.
Those things happen maybe during the relationship.
Yes.
But now once people have gotten into that, I want you to give your last advice, considering the fact that if we should find misfortunes, how do we deal with them? Because we could go through the premarital counseling and agree you know, on everything, and we are good to go. Our communication is good. The red flags have been shattered, and everything else is clear, you know. But then now misfortunes are things you don't plan for.
Exactly.
You get married, and 5 years down the line, you have not gotten a baby. Your husband has lost a job, and things have just happened to you. How do you prepare this couple so that when they get into this, they don't just call it quits, they don't just walk away?
Yes. Thank you, Betty. And one of the thing is, I would say, is we cannot prepare enough for misfortunes.
Okay.
So what we do is we inform people and we discuss with them what are the likely misfortunes that can happen in life of a marriage couple, and then we want to hear to them, according to them, how would they work on them, how would they handle them. And so, of course, if it happens into marriage, there's still services. I mean, they could still go back and walk along a counselor, walk along a pastor. So it's not that because of premarital is done and of course everything was okay and they got into marriage, that does not mean now their marriage is, you know, issues proof, you know, it's not fireproof, you know, it's not like, but at least they are at a better place because they talked about it, they thought about it. And so it is important that still they go through premarital counseling, and even post-marital counseling is available, you know, and even being in accountability groups, you know, be with other couples who you get married almost the same time and discuss issues. You realize that everybody may go through something that you have gone through.
Wow.
Yes.
I like the fact that premarital is not the end. As
No,
in
no,
once
no,
you
no,
have
no.
gone through it, then you're shut into the marriage.
No.
There's also post-marital counseling. Thank you. Thank you so much, Pauline.
Thank you for having
sharing
me.
with us and teaching us a lot of things. We are very grateful.
Thank you,
you also, my live audience. I'm so excited that you are here to help me ask the questions and to put Pauline on the spot today. Thank you, viewer, for watching this episode of Premarital Counseling. It has truly been so interesting. Thank you for your many questions as well. My name is Betty Akuku. I have been your host. See you next time.